Hello and welcome to Primetime Pastimes, the podcast where we talk to people in the wrestling space about their passions outside of wrestling. I'm one of your hosts, Steve, along with the other host, Gav. Say hello, Gav.
Hello, and I'm excited for this one already. So,
We're joining our Scooby Gang today, straight from the Hellmouth. It's a graduate of Sunnydale High, Dollface, Aiton Steen. How are you today, Aiton?
I'm alright, I'm good. Very tired by my side. Very busy.
Yeah, you're a busy person.
Mad busy.
Well, let's get busy on a podcast. So before we talk about our topic, as I mentioned to you just before we started recording, we do like to ask a little bit about wrestling. Only 10 minutes on this, then we'll move on to our topic of choice. So tell us a little bit about your first experiences with wrestling. What is it you do in wrestling and any influences you've had along the way?
Okay, so before we get into that, I'm just going to make everyone aware that I'm going to be doing my makeup during this. So that's what's going on in the background.
I made up.
Just because I thought it'd be fun to do a kind of makeup tutorial where I don't tell you anything to do and just do it and you have to watch and see what I do.
Well, we are on YouTube and Spotify, so I'm happy that you are making it more visual.
Plenty of people can drool over you, so you're good.
I won't be mentioning any brand names for sponsorship, but you know. We do want to. So wrestling. Well, I don't know where to start. I mean, wrestling influences and stuff like that. I mean, when I first started wrestling, trying to think of what I was big on at the time. When I was younger, I was really big into I think the first wrestler I liked was Rey Mysterio. I remember I was like real young. I think I even watched when it was like WCW Nitro and you could only get like the first hour on TNT. So you didn't know what the fuck was going on the rest of the time. You'd come back next week and like nothing had you'd be like, when did this happen? Like I haven't seen any of this. It'd be like, oh, this happened, someone attacked Sting, and it'd be like, I haven't seen any of that. Though any of these people are, and actually, as it turns out, as I got older and watched those Nitros back, didn't actually miss out on anything. It was
going to say the first hour,
and none of it made sense. But
the first hour was dead good though in Nitro.
Yeah, it was. That was where the actual wrestling was. But
exactly,
so they had like the cruiserweights and stuff. And Rey Mysterio, obviously, like is what 5 foot. Was he like 5'4", 5'6"? But like at that stature at that time in wrestling and stuff, you know, he was never ever pushed. Like he just would lose every match pretty much until eventually did win the cruiserweight title. But like he'd lose every match. But even when he lost every match, I remember as a kid, like I was like, he's the best guy. I was like, he's 100% the best. Like there's no there was nothing in it. He was like the best. Even like as a older would have been like 5 or something. But like I was like he's the best. He was like the first wrestler I really liked. And then when Kane became a thing, I loved Kane because like Kane, I just like the spookiness of it. I always loved the spookiness. I love the spookiness and the kind of mystique of it. It was like, I don't know. Like Kane was like the first. I mean, they had the Undertaker, but Kane was the first person I was actually scared of. And like also it helped that he did debut in one of like the best matches of all time, which I had like on VHS. And I remember I tried to like get my friends to watch wrestling who all thought it was dead nerdy, and I always used to make them watch Bad Blood. With the Hell in a Cell match with Shawn Michaels and Kane. Shawn Michaels and Undertaker with Kane entering, debuting at the end. And they always loved it. And then they watched the rest of wrestling. They were like, you ruined wrestling for me because you showed me the best match first. And I was like, I think
that is the only VHS I've got, I think, still actually, the Bad Blood one. I've still got my VHS copy.
Undertaker holding his own front cover. which just makes no sense. I don't know why they decided to have that as a cover.
I can actually answer that. I can actually answer that because at the time, what they did was that they commissioned all the VHS covers, etc., months and months and months beforehand. So it would almost never have anything to do with the actual matches that were booked. To the extent where they did an entire pay-per-view that was going to be based around Vader, or so they thought, and it never happened. Like Vader's branding was all over it. Forget what the name of the pay-per-view was, but yeah, it's because they had to plan so far in advance.
It might have been Survivor Series. I can't remember. But
no, it was one name. It was called It's Time. It was a pay-per-view called It's Time, I think.
Time.
Yeah, and it wasn't time. It was not Vader time.
It was not.
That makes a lot of sense, though, with you mentioning those two wrestlers, Kane and Rey Mysterio, because you are a bit of an amalgamation of both in a way, because you've got the spookiness and you've got the aerial high flying stuff. So was Rey Mysterio the first sort of wrestling that you ever saw, or were you aware of wrestling beforehand?
I was aware of it in that I think I did watch. They weren't current, but like I think my parents had some wrestling VHSs that they'd like got from somewhere, and there were ones like old WrestleMania. So like they did have like I think when I was really like quite young, I watched one with Ultimate Warrior. I think I did quite like the Ultimate Warrior, but I remember being like really like a bit put off by it because it was like the old not 80s, like like the golden age, or whatever.
It'll be WrestleMania 6, I bet. It's usually the one that most people have with Hogan versus Warrior.
Yeah. I remember seeing Ultimate Warrior versus Honky Tonk Man as well when he wins the Intercontinental title. I remember seeing that. But the first wrestler I really liked was Rey Mysterio and Nitro, which is a strange one. Not even Raw. And actually, I think I was actually like a WCW guy for like a couple of months before I really got into Raw. And but yeah, strange. But then one person, and I really liked Shawn Michaels, obviously, because I watched that VHS. But it was unfortunate at the time when he was like retired for a while after his back injury. So I never really he was never live on TV when I liked wrestling until when he returned against Triple H. But like so for years, I even remember watching like Raw and like hoping every week he'd like return. And then I think he came back as like he did come back as the commissioner.
The commissioner. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the commissioner.
I was like, come on! I've been waiting for him to return. But I always knew he would return though. But so I like Shawn as well, and the Hardy Boys as well. Obviously, like Jeff Hardy was just dead exciting. It was good to watch. But so that was kind of like the beginnings of wrestling.
No, fair enough. And as you developed as a performer yourself, who have you found more influential to you since you've gone back and obviously watched other bits of wrestling? Who have you taken little bits from here and there?
Yeah, so what I think when I started training was at the time like Kenny Omega and Okada were doing their thing in New Japan, so I really liked that stuff. There was also like the mad shit that like Osprey and Ricochet were doing as well. They did that mad crazy match that broke the internet.
Oh, so many flips.
It was mad. It was mad. Yes. But, I even think during that time, I think I watched. I saw an Osprey Ricochet match live. I think it was WCPW. Which was then Defiant. I think that was in Manchester or Newcastle. And I saw it live. It was fucking insane. It was a bit mad. I don't want to criticise it, bad bit from me, but I think they did it was like the first 2 minutes of the match and did like a brainbuster on the stage or something. And I was just like, oh, fucking hell.
Where do you go from there?
Yeah, where do you go from there? But so yeah, like, and then later on, I got like, there was a lot of stuff I'd like missed out on. Like when I started training was when I really started like, rather than like casually watching WWE and like a bit of WCW and ECW, I started like going down the rabbit hole watching like New Japan, All Japan, Ring of Honor, Noah and stuff like that. So then I started like watching stuff like Kenta. I really liked Kenta. Going back like further and watching Dynamite Kid and stuff like that. Yeah, it's a lot of like influences, but I think like then also there was a lot of like influences on like the stuff I was watching, but also like when I was wrestling, the people I was wrestling with as well. So like all the people who like trained me, in like a weird way. There was like some of the influences don't really make that much sense, but they were just like my coaches. Cause like I was originally when I started training, I did a gimmick that I kind of like half-assed and really wasn't for me. It was like a kind of emo trap rapper gimmick. But my reason for doing that gimmick is so stupid. It was so shitty. Like it was just like I knew I needed something on my face. Like I felt like I wanted to have something like basically like makeup. But I didn't feel like I could wear makeup because like, I don't know. At the time it was like wrestling. It was pre-lockdown, and wrestling just didn't seem as like as inclusive a space. And the kind of makeup I wear, I don't wear like really face paint. It is makeup, like it's like a full face of makeup. I didn't really feel like I could do that, or like that was something that was wanted. I felt like I'd be like pigeonholed into like a Goldust kind of thing. Not that Goldust was incredible, like, and I always liked Goldust, but I felt like he was never taken seriously.
I agreed.
So I had this like, so I had like his emo trap rapper gimmick. So I had like fake face tattoos. Oh, it was terrible. It was Little Tony Rock. That was my name. It's the name Dynamite Lee gave. No, Dynamite Lee gave me the name Sweet Tony Rock. It's like Sweet Tony Rock. That's your name. And I was like, okay. And it was because he liked Sweet Child of Mine. That was like his favorite rock song. And
why then? Where do you go?
Where do you go now?
Where do you go now?
Where do you go now? And that was Little Tony Rock for a little bit. And even after lockdown, I still have that name for a little bit, which made no sense. But then when I came back off lockdown, I kind of like just started being myself being a bit more like, fuck it, I'm just going to do whatever. And then by then there was like stuff like queer shows were coming up. And like I then started training with Chris Ridgway, which is completely like two completely opposite ends of the spectrum. Not like obviously Chris has like a character and everything, but it's like it's not a very like flamboyant character or like anything like that. But I just took that as like the wrestling part of it. So I was like, whatever your gimmick is, I still think like you should be well rounded. You should still be like the best wrestler you can be, and not just rely on like character to like distract with smoke and mirrors. So training with Chris was so incredible. Like it really completely like changed my way of wrestling. It did completely like it changed my cardio and my body as well at the time. Like it was so intense training with Chris after lockdown. It was when we didn't have shows, so it was like because you couldn't wrestle anywhere else, you just had to wrestle in training, which we should be doing anyway. But I'd be in training like 3 or 4 times a week, doing mad, insane cardio sessions with Chris. And but yeah, it completely changed like the way I wrestled. That's like I became like a bit more like kamikaze and like daredevil kind of stuff. Because I was like, in wrestling, you kind of have to do. So, I feel like you have to do something like that no one else can do, or do it like better than everyone else. Like something no one else can do is like Leon Slater do a Swanton 450 like no one else can do. Or you can do something that no one else would do, like doing mad kamikaze shit, or like drinking a shot of someone's blood.
Which we have proof behind me.
I was like, get the shot glass in if we're talking about it.
So that was, I started doing more of the Daredevil
The
stuff.
very first ever shot glass where Aiton drank Tomby's blood.
Then it just kind of changed into that, and that kind of unified two favorite types of wrestling. The more not very technical stuff, but the more hard hitting stuff like Kenta and stuff like that, and then the more Daredevil kamikaze
character
or stuff.
Daredevil. Yeah. Well, speaking of drinking blood, I think it's time we move on to our topic. Then, in that case,
what a segue that was.
What a segue. So, our topic is, in my opinion, the reason we have big budget epic TV shows today, the groundbreaking Buffy the Vampire Slayer. But before we sink our teeth into some deep dives, here's a few facts about Buffy the Vampire Slayer. The original pitch title was Wanda the Immortal Waitress, and based off writer Joss Whedon's proposition that he was sick of seeing dizzy blonde cheerleader types who were always the first to die in horror movies, and wondered what would happen if one of them gained superpowers. Yeah. Much like Marvel Comics creating mutants, so they didn't have to keep creating reasons for powers, the decision was made to have this town of Sunnydale, specifically the high school, on top of a literal mouth to hell that attracts all sorts of demons. So the producers didn't need to come up with an increasingly strange premises for their monsters of the week. Speaking of X-Men, the character of Kitty Pryde was apparently very, very influential on the creation of Buffy, with Joss Whedon calling her the mother of Buffy on several occasions in interviews. The vampire design was more monstrous than you've seen in the actual film and in other vampire films and stories, because the producers didn't want to see teenagers stabbing other teenagers in high school, which is totally fair enough, I think.
Very fair.
Very, very fair. With the dusting of the vampires as well, that was made because people didn't want to figure out how to get rid of bodies every episode, which again, totally fair. Dawn's introduction was planned 3 years previously. There were hints, and I don't know if either of you guys remember this, in dream sequences and other things earlier in the season. The episode where Faith is still in a coma, where they're making the bed, they say, little sister is coming. So, it was planned well in advance. Anthony Head was told not to touch anything in the first few episodes of season 7 because they wanted to sow the seeds in that he could be actually the first evil.
No,
so if you notice, right. So if you watch the first few episodes of season 7, Giles doesn't touch a thing.
No way.
The term Googling was created in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Willow was, in fact, the first person ever to say, I'm going to be Googling, or have you Googled them? Seth Green was a vampire in the film version, making him the only actor to appear in both the film and the series.
Oh, hey.
So I hope you enjoyed those little facts. Aiton, I think that a few of those you weren't aware of, which is lovely.
Some I didn't know as well, to be honest.
Yeah.
Impressive.
I went on a deep dive. So enough facts. Let's explore our feelings once more with our feelings. Aiton, when did you first watch Buffy? Was it a part of its original run?
Yeah, I think so, but I don't think it was the first series. I think it was the original run, but I maybe came in at season 2, late season 2. Towards the end of season 2.
Well, that's like the worst time to come in, because had Angel turned by that point?
I think he was just about to. No, I think he was still a good guy.
Right,
just about, yeah.
Whatever the case, I still got the idea that he was once good. But I might be midway through season 2. But yeah, I did. I would have. Yeah, I think I was in primary school maybe when I first started watching it, and I think it's like my friends watched it first, and I said I should start watching it, and then I loved it. I think I watched it quite casually because like the first two series are quite episodic.
They are.
And until it got to the third season when I was like absolutely hooked after that.
It turns into a full-on melodrama halfway through that.
Absolutely. You can't actually miss an episode because you'll just get lost.
Yeah. So good. But like you said, with like the reason we have like the big shows we have now, like most of them are like not self-contained episodes, which Buffy kind of like found the formula for, because it was pretty much self-contained. Like the first series is almost entirely, apart from the running story with the Master, it's almost entirely like self-contained.
Well, what they try and did was they try and did the monster of the week sort of premise. But as I mentioned, then they quickly realised that that's not what people were really interested in. They were interested in the melodrama of everything. But what's good is the series themselves quite self-contained. Like you can stop watching Buffy at the end of any season, and that can be your finale if you want to.
Yeah.
Which I've always really, really enjoyed about that.
That's true.
I got so badly.
Got bullied.
When I started watching it, I think I watched the premiere of the first episode. Told me best mate, you need to watch this, it's really good. So I'd got sort of a few episodes in and he came around and was like, we'll watch it, because I was recording them all so I could actually watch them back. He sat there, watched 2 episodes, turned around and, what is this? I went, what? So it's really good. And he's like, no. And he said, I don't want to ever see that again.
No way.
But yeah,
I find that fascinating because everyone that I've ever shown this to that have watched it for more than a few episodes have loved it.
The only person that's ever done it is Lee.
Crazy.
Lee, you're an idiot.
Yeah,
not Dynamite Lee. What you mean?
Not Dynamite Lee. We love Dynamite.
Yes, we love Dynamite.
Bloody Lee.
Oh,
on Lee, what are you doing?
So, what made you sort of fall in love with the show then, Aiton?
I think I did like the it's part of it was at the same time like I was in primary school going into high school at the time, so I did like it, in the kind of like Harry Potter kind of sense of like I liked that it was set like around where I was at that time, and I just kind of like the idea of being part of that crew, and because like you said, like you got bullied for that. Whereas like the characters in the show as well are a bunch of nerds, even though Sarah Michelle Gellar is someone who probably was prom queen in high school. It is painted as the weirdo because she slays vampires on the weekend, has to keep that secret so everyone thinks she's weird. So it's like, they did like it appealed to me because I was an absolute nerd and an outcast. No one liked me. So apart from my small circle of friends who did all watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So
we created our own little Scooby gangs, probably.
Yeah, absolutely. And like it was like escapism into that world of like, what if the thing you loved was like, was actually really important, which it is to you, was saving the world, and you couldn't tell anyone about it and no one can know about it and they're never going to know all the, good you're doing. And it's is kind of strange because I think like most of those people that I knew in primary school and high school, years later, as with wrestling and Buffy, all decided they loved Buffy the Vampire Slayer. They all decided they loved Buffy the Vampire Slayer and they loved wrestling and like, it's really cool. And it's like, it's like you fucking took the piss out of me for this like 3 years ago. And now you're wearing fucking baggy jeans and you're like, telling me about Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And I was like, but yeah, it was like, this is like,
we were just ahead of the curve.
Yeah, this is cool. Like we were just less
inhibited.
Yeah, less inhibited than them.
Yeah,
we didn't, didn't care about seeming uncool, but that was probably because we were already uncool, so we had nothing to lose. So maybe,
well, if I don't care that I'm cool, does that make me cool?
Yeah, that's it.
Sure. So, Aiton, which character do you sort of warm to out of all the characters? Then, which one did you connect to more than anybody?
Faith, absolutely Faith.
Faith. Tell me about Faith.
Like a bit and Faith.
Yeah.
Faith, 100% Faith.
Mm-hmm.
And Faith because, I mean, connected to like later on, I liked her because she was like, I don't know, quite badass, didn't give a fuck, and did her own thing. But also, I could never see myself as a Buffy or a Willow or a Xander or anything like that, because I was too much of a dickhead. Like I was but also like, you know, I'd like, you know, like also like reasons to be and stuff, you know, lifestyle growing up and all that shit. But I was, you know, like, I never said like the right thing at the right time. I was like, you know, like, I don't know. I was kind of like a controversial little bastard. So like I felt like Faith, and then later on the kind of like Buffy's just like, I know she has to be like the really honourable good guy, but Faith was just much more realistic. It was like if you became like a vampire slayer, you'd both be fighting like the temptation of all these powers you've just got, you know, at the same time trying to be good, liking it a little bit too much, killing these vampires, and like, you know, trying for it to not take you down a bad road. So like it was just much more realistic to me. And yeah, like it just like, I don't know, I just felt she was more me, and also she was gothy. So like I was gothy and thought I was really edgy, but I wasn't. I was just a nerd. But I did think I was edgy. And yeah, so
I mean, it's interesting that you've picked two of the characters that are the anti-heroes.
Oh, absolutely. Anti-heroes are all everything I'm about. I always about anti-heroes, because I just think like life's not that clear cut. Never like, I don't know anyone who's like completely good or completely bad. They're always like complex characters, because life's hard and you don't always like choose where you come from and stuff. So like everyone has like difficult decisions to make, and it's like, you know, when you've got difficult decisions to make, you don't always make the right one. And you know,
so true.
You've got to live with your choices, which Faith does. Which is one of the things I watched the show a bit ago, and maybe it was lockdown. I mean, no, I think it was more recently than that, actually. I rewatched it. I always thought like it's one of those things. It is a trope of just media in general, but like, I don't know if we'll ever get past it, because I can see why it has to be there. But like the trope of like, bad guy does loads of bad stuff, does one good thing, is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And with Faith, that kind of does happen a bit. Like she kind of completes those good, but it's also like I forgot until I rewatched it how much bad shit she'd actually done. I was like
full on murdered people and shit.
She murdered two people. Like two, like the first one. Okay, you like because the first one is the one where
it's an accident.
Yeah, it's an accident. It's like you can see, and she wants to cover it up, and it's like, yeah, she's in a difficult position there. You know, she has to pay for it, but also it was like, we're talking in terms of the American crime scale. It's like it's murder too, I guess, or manslaughter. You know, like it's an accident. Sure, he's a vampire, whatever. But then she just completely premeditated murders a random guy in a house for a boss, you know, for the mayor. And I was like, that's a bad one. That's a really bad. There's no coming back from that. Like, and then she does, like, you know, eventually she turns herself in and she goes to prison. But then she gets out a couple of times, like, to help them. And then eventually she just gets out. And they're just kind of like, oh, I'll just leave her alone now, even though she did do those things.
I'll just be a slayer and save the world.
Yeah.
She did a murder.
I know. But again,
when they were talking about spin-offs for this, because obviously there was a lot of talk of spin-offs at the time. Everyone knows about Angel. Are you aware that they were also planned a spin-off based around Faith and also one around Giles called Ripper?
Yeah, I had heard of that. Yeah.
I did hear about the Faith one. I didn't know about Giles one, but I did hear that they were going to do a Faith one.
I know that it sort of lost its luster. I think the reason it didn't happen was largely because they were winding down Angel. They were with a different company. They weren't with the CW at the time, so they went to a different company with Paramount, I think. So I think that's why it didn't happen. Well, I personally would have loved to have seen especially a Ripper. For the reasons you've just said, the fact that the character of Giles is very dark. He murders people.
Yep.
He murders Ben, and he's had a very problematic past in with all his witchy pals. If there was going to be a spin-off at the time, because I'm not talking about the reboot now, but if you would have seen a spin-off at the time involving either of those two characters or indeed another one, which would you have liked to have seen?
Absolutely, Faith. But I mean, I would have watched Ripper as well.
Mm-hmm.
If they did it now, I probably wouldn't. I mean, just because it's going to be too deep, but going into stuff like, I don't know, the chain making of stuff like spin-offs, like there's like it's just people don't want to come up with new ideas now, so I think it would be very cheaply made. I think it would phone everything in. I don't think anyone involved with it would care enough, which would be different if they did follow through with the reboot of Buffy, because if Sarah Michelle Gellar was involved, people would care. But I just think if they did Ripper, especially, like with Faith, actually, it might be different. Oh, one sec. Sorry, one sec.
Oh no, you go right ahead.
So with Faith, it might be different because it would be. I'm assuming if they did it with Eliza Dushku, it would be at the time after or before Buffy, and there might be similar people in it, so that would have some sort of level of investment. If they did Ripper, it would be set back in the 60s. Would so have a highly new cast.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think it would it wouldn't hit.
You need Anthony Stewart Head, don't you? That's the problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the problem.
Also, but you might get someone playing as Wesley, old Alexis Denisoff. With in the part that he played in the George Harrison music video for "I've Got My Mind Set on You," which I don't know if you've ever seen that, but he's in the music video for "I've Got My Mind Set on You."
Wow.
By George Harrison. Like the lead in that music video is Alexis Denisoff. And it's really funny because it's kind of set like I guess it's set like the 50s, even though that song was made in like early 90s, I think, but or like late 80s. But it's set like in the 60s in an arcade, and he's there playing pinball, and he's like a greaser, and he's got like his like white shirt, like sleeves rolled up, and it's just like, God, I can't buy this person as a like hard man greaser in the 50s when he's old Wesley.
You said that. One of the things
that sounds like Chris Eubank, and it's just like.
And Denisoff's Wesley, though, I think, and we're not really talking about Angel here, but if you look at that guy's character development from Buffy all the way to the end of where he ends up in Angel, I plays quite a hard character as well.
Oh, absolutely,
he does a great job.
Oh, absolutely, but I feel like he still plays. Sorry, my brother is ringing me. I'm just going to turn that off. He still plays that kind of foppish character, but forced into a hard position. I can't buy him as like a streetwise hard man, but that's by the by.
No, I get you.
It's good, great song.
No, a great song, and my mind will be set on that afterwards when I Google it. So we've talked a little bit about spin-offs. How do you feel that Angel impacted Buffy? Because there's a definite separation from when season 3 of Buffy ends and then season 4 onwards. It does feel like it's missing a core part of it.
Which say that again, sorry. So
how do you feel that Angel TV series impacted the filming of Buffy moving forwards? Because I always feel like it lost something when they all moved on.
So when you mean the last series after Buffy ended and Angel continued?
No, so in season 4 and 5 and 6 and 7, they didn't have Angel, they didn't have Cordelia, they didn't have Wesley. Do you think there's a noticeable difference in the quality of the show, or?
There is, but I mean, I don't really think. I mean, it's definitely missing something with those characters gone. But then Angel, the trade-off for Angel as a show, Angel is a really good show. So like, it was even DJ King said to me, he was like, hot take, controversial opinion. He was like, Angel's a better show, and I was like.
There's a couple of episodes for me, and that's about it, really.
No, I think it's a very good show.
I like it.
I really like Angel. I was like, no, there is an argument for it. I was like, the first 2 series, absolutely. But, like, when you get into the later series of Angel, it just kind of fucking goes all over the place. Storyline.
It didn't have a definitive ending, and that's the thing that bothered me about it.
But I think that was part of Joss Whedon kind of just losing his goddamn mind, I guess. But I don't know if he ever had it. But like he kind of went a bit west, didn't he? So like that whole thing, and I think he plotted like a lot of those storylines out of kind of weird malice and stuff towards some of the cast members.
Certainly felt that way, didn't it? Especially with Dawn.
A lot more later, didn't we? But
yeah. And I think that's a symptom of, I don't know, maybe he just got too much power at that time, or it gone to his head, or maybe he stopped caring, I don't know. But
maybe spread too thin with 2 series as well. That has to be a factor. Not defending the man.
No, absolutely. But like the I like the with the characters leaving Buffy, they didn't just keep going without them. The kind of air of it changes completely. Like it got a lot more serious, and it was like more like family, like a family based on real like world problems, like mum dying and stuff like that.
It tackled a lot of the hard subjects. I thought later on, really difficult ones that a lot of series haven't ever tried. Not in that way. Yeah.
But again, it mirrors that kind of like that experience of like, especially at the time for me as well. Like it was like mirrored that experience of leaving high school. When you're in high school and you feel like everything's life and death and everything's high school and everything's so important, like all these people around you, Cordelia and all them, as soon as you leave high school, they fuck off. Like you're gone. What you're left with is your family. What you're left with is your family, and then at that point, stuff does get real. Like like what the world really does get real at that point, because like you're getting old, your parents getting old, and you realise, oh fuck, I really fucking love these people who've been here for me all my life, and like shit is getting hard now, like and I know I thought I did have problems back in high school. It's like, no, actually no, I've got real fucking problems now. And that's like, that is kind of like very nicely mirrored in the series. So I do like that, like, sorry, continue.
No, I was going to say in season 4, like I did sort of I still watched every episode, but I felt it was uncomfortable. And then obviously I found out later on he'd done that on purpose to make it feel like a transition between high school, university, whatever. And he made it an uncomfortable experience, which is really clever.
Yeah, it is. The film student in me as well. I don't know if you guys noticed this. The film student in me, a lot of the early seasons, they were quite close up shots of everything. But when you get to season 4, there's a lot of shots from the distance to make it look like this is a much, much bigger world that she's entering into. So I like that little touch.
That is a good touch. That is a very good touch. Yeah.
Love a good touch.
Love a good touch. Good touch, that. It reminds me of football for some reason. Oh, good touch.
Ooh, good touch. I know nothing about football.
No, I know nothing about football. I don't know why.
Me neither. So,
yeah, good touch.
Good touch. So, obviously, we've mentioned about season 3 being a great sort of not end, but it's a great separation between season 3 and season 4, etc. There's potentially 3 seasons that I think this could have ended on. Personally, season 3 was one of them. I thought you could have the series right there. Season 5 was the original planned ending of the series, but then obviously she was brought back from the dead. Then you had season 7. Ultimately, were you happy with the way it ended, or should it have ended sooner? Should it have gone on a bit further? Talk a little bit about that.
I was happy with it, as in, like, I didn't feel disappointed. It wasn't like I watched the end of Lost. You know, like, I mean,
yeah,
like, that was like mad disappointment for me. But I mean, like, but like, so I was happy with it at the time. Like, I didn't feel like Lost. I thought it was nice, like, finish to it.
Brings it all together.
But I also, it was a bit too safe. I mean, I like a kind of like daring big finish. So I did like the finish where she died. Like I liked that as the idea that she died and sacrificed herself for the world and everything. However, I don't think it was done that well. Like, I mean, like, I just don't think that's the best series, the one with Glory and stuff. Like, so I'm glad it didn't end there, because I think the 2 series after are much better. So I'm glad it didn't end there and got 2 more series out of it. But also, kind of would have been nicer if they, because they didn't really end Angel. It would have been nicer if they, no one seems to do this, but it would be nicer if they did like a joint end. Like, so, like, if you brought them back together, at least for a final episode. But I mean, you could do a final series where it's like intertwined. That would be great. Like, that's like, I was like, I had like a fantasy booking, fantasy writing of Buffy that would have gone that way, with everybody coming back, and it just like being
that's the finality to it.
But then again,
I don't know where everyone ended up, because we don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
We only know sort of the end of the Scooby sort of bit, but then with Angel, you've got no idea what happened to any of them.
I think they're still fighting in LA. I think they're still fighting in LA right now. 20 years later, I think they're still fighting.
That fight is still going on. Has anyone read the comics?
No, I'm aware of them.
I have not read the comics.
So. They follow it on, apparently. They do actually completely follow on from the end of season 7, and I've never, I don't know, I just don't feel it.
It does. It takes place in Scotland, I think.
Yeah, there's seasons of it, but they've rebooted it as well, where the entire universe is reset. Put it this way, I'm aware of it. Yeah, they've reset the universe, and she is eventually in a queer relationship with Faith, I believe. I might have got that wrong, because I've read so much fan fiction. Well, I've read about so much fan fiction in the comic. It's, for me, don't cross mediums. Don't end a TV show in a comic.
Yeah, that's it.
Don't, you know what I mean? It's just keep the same medium.
But I don't think I don't think that's what they wanted to do. I mean, I think like that's because they couldn't do another thing. It's hard to end it. Because
it was cancelled. It was cancelled. It wasn't like they had to wrap it up because they knew they only had one more season.
Yeah, absolutely. But then again, also, like, I mean, again, I've never read the comics, so I don't want to speculate on them. But from what I remember, the comics, the ending in those comics wasn't very definitive either. Because I did look up what it was, and I was like, this just seems like a continuation. This is like a similar thing again. Yeah. So I don't know.
It seems to go on, and there's some weird choices. Like I know they bring Fred back in one of the comics, and I know that Xander and Dawn marry each other in one of the comics, and that always seemed a bit creepy to me.
That's a very strange choice.
Yeah,
that's a very, very strange choice. How about that one?
Yeah. Rest in peace to both those wonderful actors, by the way.
Yeah.
Well, I say wonderful actors. I'm not going to say too much about Nicholas Brendan, but yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, but actors, you know,
yeah.
don't have to talk about the personal lives.
Exactly, yeah.
But,
so
absolutely, yeah.
Yep.
Uh-oh. Exactly that.
Yeah,
exactly. Moving swiftly on.
But, yeah, so, yeah, so like, yeah, there are some strange choices. The thing is, though, the choice about Fred, it was like that was a massively controversial decision at the time to get rid of her. I mean, or get rid of her and not get rid of her. So, like, that's such a strange decision. Again, this one's all an Angel, like, and it just like kind of like went a bit mad. Like, just the storytelling just went all over the place. So, like, there's no reason to get rid of Fred. You're not even writing her out, the actress, out of the series.
It's just heartbreaking to the audience because we all love that character.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, and I was just like, I don't see the reason to do that. It didn't have any real impact either, because then she was like still there, you know, like, and it's like, I don't know.
If anything, the team was better. If anything, the team was better.
Yeah, like, I don't know why. Anyway,
talking about weird supernatural characters, what do you think about Dawn?
Dawn, like, so when Dawn was brought in, I really didn't get it. Like, I really didn't get it.
I was a bit like, why are you shoehorning someone in? Like,
what is it? Like, I mean, you could have given her, like, you could have given her a sister from the start, which would have made more sense. But, like, yeah, I just didn't get it. It just, I don't know. It's kind of like good later on. Like, I mean, like, the relationship between them is quite touching, and that's really good. Like, there is some good moments later on, but I also think that, like, she comes in and is just an annoyance for, like, the first series that she's in. You're like, bratty, annoyed, just whining all the time, and then she just does very little for like another 2 seasons, and then she's quite good in the last one. So that's pretty cool.
She is good in the last one, yeah.
Yeah, she's good in the last one.
I think again, he's probably mirroring how an older sibling feels when they have a new one. He's literally copying how it feels to make the viewer go, actually, yeah, it is pretty shit having a sibling. They're a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
So again, he's very clever with what he's done with a lot of it.
I also think it was kind of that as well, because, you know, sibling, but then also not only is she her sibling, but then her mother dies and she's then her carer.
Yeah.
So she goes very quick from being the teenager in high school to now being a parent, basically. Yeah. But then I also think that, like, it's also like a shrewd move in a kind of marketing sense that you've made this TV show based on teenagers in high school, which is liked predominantly by teenagers in high school. So then when they move to college, bringing a character who's still in school. So, you know, like, so people can identify with the character. So it is like a shrewd move from that angle as well. Your demographics and stuff. Yeah, but I don't know. I know, like, the storyline, how it happened. I do like the little nods to it, and they plan to do it. But I just would have. You could have just had have a sister to start off with, and it would have felt more organic. But
I wonder why they didn't, because I don't know if they were trying to. Well, I know they were originally planning on this being a sequel to the film, but they were never. They were never sort of tied to the film in any way. For example, in the film, even though the loose events are supposed to have happened, he's supposed to have burned the gym down. They refer to it on multiple occasions. She burned the gym down. That never happened in the film. It happened in the screenplay. So, so it's weird. So they were never beholden to the film. So it was a bit of a weird choice. And I agree. I think they should have just brought a sister in if they wanted a sister. Did you watch the film? What did you think about the film?
I did watch the film. I cannot remember it. I'll be honest.
It's pretty forgettable.
I've got actually, it's really cool. I've got a weird wrestling Buffy the Vampire Slayer film tie-in. So to do with the film, I can't massively remember the film. I did watch it. I watched it after I'd watched the series. I look like...
Don't worry about it.
I look like a juggalo. But like... I didn't see this lie. I look massively like a juggalo. It's kind of like e-girl makeup, but I look like a juggalo. That's what's
worst things to look like.
That's what's happened, and that's what we're going with. People are going to chant Timu Joker at me like they do at wrestling shows. But so when I watched the film after, and I don't massively remember it.
Don't worry.
And who was in it and stuff, who played who and whatever. When we did the Love of Wrestling convention a couple of years ago, so I think it was 2 years ago. So this time was Bushwhacker Luke getting eliminated by Bushwhacker Luke. The time before was Tajiri and D'Lo Brown. The time before that was Gangrel. So when we tag teamed, me and Dave tag teamed with Gangrel, Gangrel came into the locker room, and I went to introduce myself, and he looked at me like he was like he just started having a trip or coming up off a pill. He looked at me like, and I was wearing my normal gear, so I had like the skirt on, the tights and everything, but I had some Bailey had given me this Brood shirt to wear, so I had like the Christian roughly Brood shirt. And Gangrel looked at me like he was just like gone into space. And I was like, "You're right." Like I was like, "Hello, like nice to meet you" and everything. And then he was like, "Oh, sorry, just like you really like took me like it just like he was like, oh god, it's just like he was like just the way he dressed, like he really like sent me a bit." He was like, he was like, "Oh," and he went, "You look like Pee Wee Herman in Buffy the Vampire Slayer." And then he kept bringing it up because he like and I can't remember the beard. Like, Pee Wee Herman in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I was like, and then I realised he was in the film. But for the rest of the day, he kept calling me Buffy. It was like a nickname for me. He was like, "Hey, Buffy, you do this." Like,
there are worse things to be called.
Buffy, like calling to me like Buffy, and I was like, Buffy. I knew he meant me, but it's like my theme song as well. So, which is really good. He didn't know that. Like, we came out to the Brood music, so he didn't even know that. Like, I came out to the Buffy the Vampire Slayer theme.
You've got blonde hair, and I've seen you with the Buffy jacket and stuff.
Yeah, and I thought that was really sweet. I thought that was really sweet.
That. Little bonus fact about Pee Wee Herman in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Yep. He based his look on the pictures in the newspaper when he was caught in that movie theater doing
no way.
Stuff. Yep.
I wasn't going to mention.
Bonus fact.
I did know that about him.
Yeah. Yeah, because if you look at his look in that film, that's what he was pretty much dressed as.
Mad. That's mad.
But, yeah. So let's talk queer representation. It's one of those shows that has been slagged off for not having enough, for having too much, for not doing it right. Where do you fall on this?
So, like, two of them are true. One of them isn't. Like, so, like, doing it right, I think they did do it right. I actually do think they did. The one lesbian romance they do right. I do think the romance between Tara and Willow is done really well. It's really sweet and touching, and like never felt forced or like a weird stereotype of any kind of like weird kind of I don't know either weird like trope of a lesbian relationship and kind of like negative stereotypes or like a weird fetishization. Like it wasn't. It was like it felt genuine. Like it felt like
just about love, wasn't it? It doesn't matter what either of them looked like, or it was just about being in love.
Absolutely, and the fact that relationship is maybe the one that holds the strongest out of all the relationships in the show. Like until death does them.
Mm-hmm.
It was really well. So I do think it was done very well. I think it was done very well. But then the other ones are true. There is not enough of it. Absolutely not enough. There is that's it. I was watching again. Sorry, come back to Lost because I did watch a lot of Lost when it was a TV show, and just like comparing it with that in my head as like a big like long running show. I watched this recap of Lost by a queer YouTuber, and there was a character in Lost, and he's very much a bit part character, and he's a gay character, and there's like a hint in one of the scenes, and this YouTuber says like he like hints like he's like, oh, he says to one of the girls like, oh, you're not my type, and he's like, oh, could this be the first gay character in Lost? Could this be the last gay character in Lost? And it is both of those things, and that's very much Willow and Tara. It's like, could this be the first gay relationship in Buffy? Could this be the last gay relationship? Yes, absolutely. So
technically, she went off with Kennedy afterwards, but I was never a fan of Kennedy. They were trying to do
that was very much. They went off together. It wasn't an relationship, but
Well, some people have suggested that Tara was only brought in so she could be killed, which I think is true. I understand why she was killed as well. Which is the biggest heel turn in the show, probably bigger than Angel when Buffy when Willow became the big bad. How do you rate Willow as the big bad? And generally speaking, what do you think was the strongest villain of the entire series?
So I rate Willow as a big bad, as I think I actually really love that because I think like I don't know. I think like the enemies should become friends, friends should become enemies. Part of like why I liked Faith, I guess, like it was more complex her story. That's just life, you're not always friends like your whole life. So like I like the fact that they had. It meant like the stakes were higher as well. Like when like one of her friends became the big bad. So I love that. I would have had it longer. I don't think it was too brief. It was a couple of episodes where she's a big bad and then she cries and she's repentant. I don't think it's that easy, I mean, you tell like the story of like her, the love of her life dying or whatever, it's like grief doesn't pass that, she's out of the anger stage all of a sudden. And it's like, no, I would have had maybe, if I actually do like the way the season's built up, but if they were going to do it this way, like I'd have had to become the big bad like earlier on in the season. So it's like going for longer this stretch of being the big bad, rather than it just being like one thing and then.
I don't think anyone believed that the trio was going to be the true villain in that series at any point.
Yeah,
because they were just a bit.
Although Warren's like again, like it goes back to like the real world villains. Like Warren is unhinged himself, school shooter levels of like real, compared to like a vampire that's. She's not real. We don't see them every day on the street or whatever, but it's like That's scary. Like, that is scary. He's unhinged. Like, he's a villain you meet every day, you know, like
that's someone we
plain
can
sight.
appreciate as being a villain now, but at the time when we were a bit younger, it didn't hit as much as it would have done now. I
That's
think
true.
like you say, if Warren was the villain in a show right now, we'd all hate him. Watching it back, I didn't love Xander, you know. I think the first few seasons, Xander was a bit.
Absolutely. Absolutely, absolutely. If he'd have gone the wrong way, he could have played that part. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Going back to like Warren though as well, obviously the episode in season 6 where it was all a dream, and they explained it to her like you've had all these monsters that have sort of come in to kill you. Now you're just seeing a normal person. Do you not think that's telling you that it's all up here? And it kind of worked in a really good way.
Yeah.
No, I agree. So, villain-wise, would you say Willow's the top, or do you think somebody else takes that spot?
I've never actually thought about this.
I'll tell you mine. Mine's the mayor.
Yeah, I was going to say mayor.
The mayor is very good. I actually do really like the mayor, but I don't know.
To be fair, though, the first evil should be the strongest.
I have a controversial opinion.
You never really see the first people. It's kind of Caleb is like the
exactly
the kind of bad by proxy, I guess. I did like Caleb as like a bad guy, the kind of sanctimonious, like, you know, kind of weird,
not a
dangerous cult leader thing. Yeah,
again, it'd be very very good in today's climate.
Yep, very
absolutely. But like,
I have a controversial opinion. I think you can skip season 1 altogether with the Master. I think the Master is pretty weak.
I think the Master is a very, very weak villain. I think like the ones that like a bet, like as in like Angel. Like I really like an Angel. Again, sorry, I'm losing myself. The bad guy in Angel throughout the entire thing pretty much is Wolfram and Hart as the front, as like all encompassing. It's a law firm, and I like that because this is based in supernatural stuff, but again mirrors like real world problems. It's like these are like people with too much power who cover up for people who are monsters, which is like
it's real world.
Many law firms in America, specifically LA and Hollywood at the time, which is crazy that Josh Whedon was writing this. But you know,
I wonder if he knew something.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, say he's reporting on himself, but then again, it's probably much worse than him out there, you know. Although we know there is, but
I do have a James Greenwood question as well.
Say that again, sorry.
I do have a James Greenwood question as well, because obviously James and I talk, and he knew we were talking about Buffy, and he's jealous. So he's got a question for you.
Get him on. I'll Greenwood on any side.
If you were the Master and could sire anyone in Brit wrestling, who would be your stable of vamps?
How many am I allowed?
So you're going to have a replacement for Darla, a replacement for Angel, a replacement for Drew, and a replacement for Spike.
Spike. Angel would be Drew Parker.
Okay, yeah, all right.
Angel's Drew Parker. I'm going to try and limit this a little bit. So, like,
go ahead.
It's going to be Brit Rest scene, and I'm going to say, like, based in the country currently, which I think Drew still is. I don't know if he's in Japan right now. So
I worked with him 2 weeks ago, so I think it's still here.
So Angel would be Drew Parker. Spike would be Ian Skinner.
Exactly my answer. That was what I was waiting for.
I'm hoping
Spike would be Ian Skinner.
I'm hoping the Drusilla I've got in my head will be the same for Aiton. I think it will be.
I don't think it's Darla. Who would be Darla? He's just crackers enough that.
For me, it'd be Claire.
I was thinking Claire, and at the same time, I'm like,
Claire, everybody.
I don't know. I feel like I should like move further out of Manchester to like just capture the whole scene.
Sorry, Lily Winter. Right, there you go. Yeah, sorry, Lily Winter would be.
So. I don't know. So like Drusilla would be Alfie.
There you go.
100%.
Oh, yeah.
Drusilla would definitely be Alfie.
Yeah.
Well, that's your four. If you're picking Lily Winter as Darla, that's your four.
I guess so. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. I was just thinking like I don't know. I haven't branched out very much. That's very much Manchester centric. Ian, no, I guess Ian's not in Manchester.
Skinner and Alfie are Yorkshire.
Yeah. And Drew's like, not Manchester. Yeah, Drew's Wales, so you're all good. You've got one from Manchester.
By way of Scotland.
Multicultural. Fantastic.
Yeah. So that would be my that would be my four, I guess. So yeah.
So relationships from another side. Everyone always talks about who should Buffy have ended up with. I don't know. Ask that question. I want to know who you think the best relationship was for Spike. So we could have had Drew, we could have had Harmony, Buffy, or Buffy Bots. Which do you think
Buffy
Bot should have ended up with?
Buffy Bot. You can have Buffy Bot.
You can have Buffy Bot. There's no rules to this.
There's fucking HS Tiki Toki being like, yeah, it's definitely Buffy Bot. Yeah, she did everything he said. You know, it's great. Fucking no.
You know what Warren's choice would be?
We're not picking Buffy Bot. There's absolutely no way of picking Buffy Bot. Thing. I mean, the right answer is probably Buffy, but part of me is tempted to say Drew.
I think
because Drew and Spike are the best vampires.
Yeah, they're like crackers together for ages and stuck together. He did really love her. It's very much him and Buffy a lot of the time, apart from the odd occasion when Buffy has baggage from her slaying or her family and stuff. It's a lot of Buffy putting up with his bullshit in it. So when it's Drew, he's putting up with a lot of bullshit as well, which it just seems like a fairer way to do it. If Drew could be, imbued with a soul, and she could survive that process, and it wouldn't make her absolutely go rather bad because she's already a bit. Yeah. And imagine giving her a soul and a conscience. God damn it, that's the end of her. But I mean, if she can survive that and somehow find a way to be happy, I do think they're probably the best couple. So, yeah.
I agree. No love for Harmony, which is a shame.
Sorry, no love for Harmony, but actually, I like Harmony. I do think Harmony.
I like Harmony too. He deserves better than Spike.
Harmony's a contender. Harmony's a contender, but again, I think it's too one-sided, isn't it? I don't think she was very much a stand-in at that point, wasn't she?
She very much is.
Placeholder.
Anyway. Yeah.
So we're going to start very one-sided. We're going to start sort of semi-wrapping up. So there's one thing that I do want to talk about as far as episodes are concerned. Do you have a favourite episode?
I've got one standout particular episode. I've got a few. So Hush, obviously.
Yeah.
One Small Feeling, obviously, is a great one as well. Name-wise on these other ones, I'm not going to do too well.
Don't worry about names. Just give me the gist, because I had to Google some names.
The one where Faith them Buffy swap bodies.
Yeah.
Because
that's good.
them having to play each other is great. Like they do a really good job. Like
do a great job.
Both emulating each other.
Where she's in the mirror, like talking to herself and
she's trying to.
Yeah, it's quite good, isn't it?
Buffy.
I like the tests of the relationships in that as well, where Buffy's sort of looking at Giles like,
you should know.
Into a demon, and I knew you. You should know this is.
Yeah, absolutely.
100%.
Yeah.
And that's where you know Riley's a piece of shit because he has no clue.
Yeah,
I'm not Team Riley. I've got to be honest.
Oh, Riley's so boring. I just can't with Riley, man. Riley's a character I just couldn't be arsed with at all. I was like, this guy
wasn't the best.
Boring,
he was just shallow. There was no depth.
Bland. Bland.
Compared to everyone else, depth.
I quite like the episodes as well, where Joss Whedon. Sorry, go on. I quite like the episodes where Joss Whedon is trying to prove a point, because there's a couple of episodes in there where he has designed the episode to have a go at the people that criticize him. The one that you mentioned is Hush. He made that because people kept saying, well, you can't write a show without your witty dialogue. So he completely stripped the dialogue back and made Hush. There was one where it said, well, you can't make a show without your supernatural elements. So he made The Body, where Joyce has passed away.
Yeah. That is a great episode.
The dynamics of the team. Oh, I love that episode. It's such a good episode. You've got the Zeppo where Xander is off on his own, where there's an apocalypse happening in the background.
That is a good one. Underrated.
That is a good episode. That is actually
such a good episode.
Where he's got loads of shit of himself, and you never even find out what happened.
Never find out.
Yeah.
Well, that was very much. So funny. That was very much designed because everyone was saying, well, you need your core people in order to make a good show. I said, no, I don't. I can make it just on Xander. Conversations with dead people. Again, that's the one where the first comes back and every single one of the core cast members are separated. So they have conversations with other people, but not each other. I think those are four of the best episodes where he's trying to prove something. But we've talked about Hush. I think Hush is just art.
Hush is great. I think I love that as a criticism. You can't even write a show without your witty dialogue. It's like, what kind of criticism? I mean, it's like, writing a show where you want the dialogue not to be witty. What? Like, but then again, also that as a criticism, it's like sometimes the dialogue really is not witty.
No, sometimes it's a bit cringe, isn't it?
How long must you spend writing one-liners before you stake someone? Like, it's like, oh, fucking hell, man. Like, we need to somebody come up with some sort of pun here to put in before she kills this guy. Can't finish the show without it.
Like, this is where I miss my mark in Hollywood.
Definitely. Yep, Steve would have given a pun for every single bit in it.
Hey guys, when the stakes are this high,
they need to call in the Punisher.
There, see what you did there.
Steve the Punisher. You see, names a pun.
I got it. It's great. I love it. Did you miss my stakes are high joke? Because I got
your stakes are high.
Okay.
Yes.
Good.
Stakes.
I know. Yeah. Right. So, final question before I do a very, very small game. How would you reboot the franchise?
I wouldn't.
I'm really tempted to say that. Yeah.
You can.
I mean, definitely I wouldn't is my exact answer, but for the sake of this argument, for the sake of this game we're playing, if I had to, how would I reboot the franchise? I would do it again, give it a Sister of Dawn from the start as one. Fuck off the Master stuff. Yeah. So the Master gets killed in episode 1. Bring the Angel stuff forward. Be a few characters I cut out there as well. A fair few. The last with the dodgy Jamaican accent.
The first, second Slayer. Oh,
yeah.
Second Slayer.
It's like terrible. Right. Like I think she's meant to have like mad Trinidadian accent, and it's like
it was the worst.
I remember where she's meant to be from. She meant like Haitian or something, and it's such a bad accent. I think I actually looked up. The accent was so bad. I looked up where she's from. I was like, "Come on, she can't. This can't be legit." And I think she's actually Danish.
LA.
And I was like, Danish, okay, nowhere near the islands. But
I do like accent. Mr. Pointy though. I like the state called Mr. Pointy. I think that was funny.
That's about it.
Mr. Pointy would be included. More named weapons, more named weapons. I think I would have it I would definitely have it less monster of the week orientated. I'd maybe start. I'd probably start from before the film as well.
Yeah.
So from the point of her finding out she's a vampire slayer and stuff. So build that as a slower progression. I would have more faith in it, as in the person faith, not just faith in my own work. Yeah, faith. I would have more faith, as in bring her in earlier, have her in more episodes as well. Because she actually she's not really in that many episodes. Not many. When you think
not as many as you think. No.
Oh, really not? Faith in more. Was another thing that I said I was going to do. I can't remember what it was.
More Bad Willow.
More Bad Willow, but also more friction between when you don't have it maybe it would lose some of the magic if you did this, but I mean when you don't have to have it so episodic and monster of the week, you can have more friction between the cast because you don't have to
rely on
be saying
what's next.
Relying on them just staying in the background and then just helping to kill the monster that week.
I would say then again have more killer bunnies.
More killer bunnies.
Yeah,
killer bunnies. But
just
then
random facts that I've just googled after talking about the lack of faith. 144 episodes there were. Faith was in 20 of them.
There you go.
There's not many.
All the way through. So in that first run, before
there's more Riley episodes than there were Faith episodes.
That's the problem.
Travesty. That is a fucking abomination.
And to be fair, I didn't like Adam either. He was a shit big.
Adam was a great villain.
I agree.
I mean, good idea.
Good idea.
Badly executed badly.
Frankenstein's monster kind of thing.
Yeah.
Modern Frankenstein's monster, I guess they were going for, but it's just, not great.
Should have got Kane in to do it. To be fair.
Right, we've reverted back to wrestling. Let's bring it to an end now.
Okay.
One final thing. So I've got one more game for you, and I'm going to ask you now, Aiton. I'm going to give you a series of monsters, and I want you to tell me if they appeared in Buffy or if they appeared in something else.
Oh, this is easy.
And if it appeared in something else, try and tell me what it was. Don't worry if you don't get any of these. Okay. I reckon you'll get a lot. Okay. Gaknar, a fear demon who was brought to life and is around 1 inch tall.
Gaknar was in Buffy, I do believe.
He was.
Correct. One of the Halloween episodes. That is correct.
Put on at the end.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
Makida, a giant serpent worshipped by college frat boys.
Yep.
That is in Buffy as well.
That is indeed in Buffy.
That is also in Buffy. I remember that. Sourcing all the women to feed to it.
Yeah.
Cupid. Literally Cupid.
Yeah. Cupid. No. I don't think Cupid's in Buffy, but you call Cupid a monster.
Was Cupid an angel?
No. Cupid was in Supernatural.
Yeah, I thought so.
Cupid's a god. Cupid's a god, a Greek god.
Cupid was a god in Supernatural.
Greek or Roman god, I guess. Cupid.
I think it was an amalgamation of Greek.
But is it like Greek? It'll be called like maybe Seraphim in Roman and Cupid in Greek because they.
Yeah, but in Supernatural, they were two different. Gods. Yeah, they do. They're all plagiarized off each other. Yeah. Norman Feister, an assassin made completely of maggots.
That's in Buffy. That is in Buffy.
Yep.
He comes through the door under the. They're trying to step on him. He just keeps going. Yeah. Norman Feister.
A suicidal teddy bear.
Don't think that's in.
No, I can't.
I don't remember that.
That was another Supernatural one.
Supernatural again.
Yeah,
Never really watched.
Titans, the father of the gods.
What's that? Titan? Did you say
Titan?
I don't really say Titans in Buffy.
No, they were in Charmed.
Charmed.
Mm-hmm.
I did watch Charmed as well. I did watch Charmed.
The Wig Lady, a woman with a worm-like appendage coming out of her head.
Wig Lady, that's a great name. But I don't think she's in Buffy.
Yeah,
she is in Buffy. She is the
hamburger episode.
When she's making hamburgers.
Shit.
Yeah.
Kill the Wig Lady.
The Wig Lady.
A worm-like appendage.
And it looks exactly like what you think it looks like.
Yeah, it
does. There's a worm-like appendage from the head.
Yeah. Google it. Don't Google it. Okay, you can if you want.
Google it.
Right, well, thank you so much, Aiton. That was a pleasure talking to you. Where can we find you on the social medias?
It's Aiton Steen. That's oh God, I'm going to spell the whole thing, aren't I? Aiton Steen. Aiton Steen, all one word on Instagram. That's pretty much the only place I am. And then at various wrestling shows near you, if you're in England or Scandinavia for some reason.
And send TNT lots and lots of emails to tell them they've got to be in TOD. So,
oh God, that's going to be insane. That bloody show.
TNT, TOD.
Yeah.
There might be a new badge coming out for that. You know?
All of you.
I think I might do a new badge. Aiton TOD.
Message all of you message various deathmatch promotions. So message Kumite, message ICW No Holds Barred, message CXW, message Big Japan if you fancy, or GCW. Message him. One of those messages might have to be in Japanese, but
everybody, don't be cowards. Learn Japanese.
There you go.
Right. Okay. Well, it's been a pleasure, guys. And if you want to appear on Primetime Pastimes, please let us know, and we'll sure to get you on if you are in the wrestling space. Otherwise, thank you very much for joining us this evening, or this afternoon, or this morning, depending on when you're listening to it. And goodbye.
Bye.
Good end.